All right, hi there. We're here, we're going to talk about throwing progression, and we're going to talk about the catch and throw. All right, the two most important things that we want to do here, especially at the very beginning, is we just warmed up our arms. That's number one. Number two is now we have to have a periodization process of how to throw and when to throw. All right, we know we play a lot of games. All right, you might have a lot of practices, so forth. So therefore, you know your team better. But the things that we have to coach on and we have to get our kids to learn and develop on is from the 5U all the way up to my age when they're in high school with Coach Killian as well, is the catch. All right, and the catch and get rid of the baseball. All right, at every position you have to catch, you have to get rid of it, and you have to throw it. Every position that you play out there in the field. All right, so why not warm up like that? All right, and so a big emphasis that we need to do is how to catch. All right, a lot of kids just catch the ball and they get in their hands and then they think it's as a warm up. All right, see, I believe that this part is the most crucial part of the development of the player. Is if they can get this, the very first part, instead of just catching the ball and then getting rid of it, throwing, is the periodization process. So, for example, like an infielder. So I was an infielder. All right. I want to catch maybe a little bit different than a catcher would, or maybe different than an outfielder, all right? But at the ages from like 4 to 12, it doesn't matter. They all should be able to catch and get rid of and find a four-seam grip. A four-seam grip is going around the baseball, across, and having a thumb. If other kids, for example, that had little hands like I did when I was younger, we go 3 fingers, okay? The thumb is on the bottom that holds the seam. All right, we tell our guys to find a seam and work on the horseshoe and work out front. All right, and so again, we have cones set up here, and I'm going to have Coach Killian going to talk about how and why we go through the throwing progression.
Okay, the first drill that these guys are going to do is on a knee. Okay, reason for this is, again, it helps them get the feel for that release point out in front. Okay, we're kind of pre-positioning their body for just about any throw you make in competitive nature. You're going to be releasing out front. Okay, as you get older and you start pitching, this becomes even more important. Okay, you want to get the release point out front. So this drill right here kind of pre-positions them. The lower half's kind of taken out of it. So now they're already in a position where they're out front. They're going to use their throwing mechanics. Again, it differs for what you are. If you're a catcher, you have a little bit different motion than you would if you're an outfielder or an infielder. Okay, but basically, a real good rule of thumb, especially for younger kids, it gives them something to visualize. I talk to them, thumb to thigh, ball to sky. Okay, so if you think about that, if you've got the ball in your hand, okay, you go thumb to thigh, ball to sky, it gets them in a position where now I can make a throw. Okay, so thumb to thigh, ball to sky. Now, as you progress, if you're a catcher, well, you're going to get it back to here. But what have you really done? You still turn that ball the same way. Okay? If you're an infielder, it's just a quicker circle. Okay? If you're an outfielder, it's just a little bit longer. All right? A pitcher might be a little bit longer, but it's the same motion. Thumb to thigh, ball to sky, and get that ball out in front. Okay? So here you go, guys. I've always put this on a watch for kids, especially younger age kids, to keep them going. Okay? It gives them something to, a focal point. They're not going to be doing this for forever. About a minute. Okay, you can go to about a minute a cone. As they get older, they need a little bit more warm. You know your team better. You can change those times however you want to. But a good rule of thumb is about a minute and progress it through. Okay, so the first one's on a knee. Right, here we go. Okay, go ahead and work full arm circle and really work on getting that ball out front. The distance here, we shorten it because we're inside. Keep going, guys, keep going. I usually like 5 good steps, okay? Which is about 5 yards, about 5 to 7 yards as they get older to start this, okay? So you're about 7 yards apart, and boom. Now, 4U, 5U, you might want to move that to 4 or 5 yards, okay? Just something to where it's a good, easy target and position for their players to be able to consistently throw the ball and catch the ball.
All right, good. Why don't we stand up? We'll move back to the next cone. Very simple as a coach is saying go back to the next cone. Very simple and stuff like that. Another thing you could do right after this, he's going to explain it real quick. Coaches out there, it's also kids love to compete. All right? This is a good way for your team to establish it right when you get there, to have some energy, to have some fun, is make this some sort of competition right off the very beginning. Chest plate Could be 1, 2 for the head. Just some little example that you can, all right? The next one is we'll go feet and cement. All right, the feet and cement is the exact same thing that we just did. We're taking out the legs and we're working on trunk rotation. We're working on that core, we're working on out front, all right, again, and working on that movement pattern. Exactly what Coach Killian said, all right? Every single player is going to go thumb down, all right, and then thumb to the sky. It doesn't matter what position you play. It might be quicker for a catcher, like you said. It might be down as a down at the hip as a outfielder. All right. So here we go. We're going to go again athletic stance. All right.
A bit wider. All right, good. Yeah, feet and cement. Good wide base. Good rule of thumb. Go ahead, buddy.
Working on the trunk.
You're going to get those feet outside your shoulders. Okay. A little bit of a wide base here. Okay. Overemphasize the trunk rotation. All right. Okay. So now I want you to really turn those shoulders, get that glove pointed out, and extend. Okay. There you go. Good. And again, about a minute for the time length. Again, as you know your team, get to know your team a little better. If they need a little bit more time, great. If they need a little bit less time, that's fine too. You can alternate those times. Okay, but again, this is getting that trunk rotation, turn, out front.
All right. Well, we go back. All right. So again, about a minute, we'll move back. All right. Next, we call it two-step throw. All right. And what we're trying to do here is trying to be athletic. On the two-step throw, what we do not want to do is we don't want to cross our midsection. So I don't want to go here and cross over our midsection because every ball that we play, we're never going to cross our midsection when we're trying to throw a baseball. All right, if we're outfielder, we're working forward, we're gaining ground. It's like we're running forward, okay? That's all what we do. All right? If we're gonna throw a ball as hard as we can, we're never gonna step back and become a pitcher and throw. All right? Now for pitchers, when we talk later, more on pitching development, it's a little bit different. Okay, but what we're gonna work on right here is two-step throw. So ball in hand, we work right at our target. All right? We get our arm up. We've already worked on a trunk rotation. We're gonna work out front. All right? And we're gonna work. Again, we're going to work with our body movement forward. Now we're creating body movement just like we would in the game.
Okay. So you're going to, all right. So the player now is in a good athletic stance. He's going to step with his throwing foot first. Okay. That's a key, especially younger guys. Give them something. Hey, it's the ball that you have the hand in. Okay, or your glove foot. They can understand that because they see the glove, they see the hand with the ball. Okay. So the ball hand first, or your throwing hand first. You're going to step and throw. Okay. Now, point of emphasis here for the kid that's actually receiving the ball. Okay, the player that's receiving the ball. Give them that target every time. Okay, give them that target every time. You try to hit that target every time. That's your competition. 2 in the chest, 1 in the face. Here we go. All right.
Good. Perfect.
Here we go. Try it again. Okay. Good. Get that step. Get out front. Good. Okay. Go ahead. Step there. You rotated. Okay.
Don't rotate ball. Here you go.
Here you go. We got another. Do it again. There you go. Okay, everything going towards your target. Okay, go ahead, do it again. Now, take that step to that front side, okay? All right, so right here, I've got the ball here. Take that step here. You're actually going to get closer to it. Okay, good.
Work out front.
And this is when the 7 yards helps a little bit different.
Yeah, we're a little bit close here.
Yeah. Okay, good. All right, here we go. One more. Okay, good. All right, now then, once we get to here, okay, now you start backing up into a longer toss, okay? So once they get back to this, start on the knee, foot in cement, 2-step throw. Now we back up, starting our long toss, okay? All right, so go ahead and go back to the next cone. All right. What long toss starts to do, okay? And this is where the program I mentioned before, the Jaeger program in throwing, really comes into play here, all right? He goes into stuff about listen to your arm as far as your distances which you're going to throw. So what that means is, I know, yeah, you're going to dictate that for a 4-year-old, 5-year-old, really all the way up until probably 10, 11, 12. Okay, once they get to that age, all right, They know if their arm feels good that day, they can go out further. Let them go out further, okay? As Coach Sherman already said, playing catch, it's a lost art. But when you think about it, in your practice time, and all the stuff that you have time to practice for, what do you do the most? What more reps you get, it's playing catch, okay? So if you can do that at a high level, you're only going to be better in a game situation and practice situation. So make it a point of emphasis, this is important. This is the most important thing that we're doing right now is playing catch, okay? Now then, for your long toss, you go reach the ball real quick. All right, lots of different ways of long toss. I like to start out throwing foot behind, okay? So it's kind of a variation of the two-step throw, except now we're gonna get into a crow hop variation, okay? And so what that means is I'm gonna take my throwing foot, I'm gonna kick it behind, step, okay, and make my throw, all right? So it looks like this. Ready, Michael? Okay? All right, so from here, step, break those hands, and get it out there, all right? What I like to tell our players is follow your throw, okay? Follow your throw. Your following the throw is going to tell you a lot about what you did on that throw. If you threw an errant throw, you probably went the way that you threw the errant throw, okay? So when you say go to your target, take everything to your target, that's a big help there. Kip, boom, out, chest to your target, extend to your target, and follow that throw, okay? All right, here we go. Okay. Yeah, give him that good target. Try to hit him right there in the chest. Okay, from behind. Not good. Not now. The next time, let's see if you can do it. Right here. Okay. Yeah, just a little bit of dynamics here. You get your lower half working. Changes your muscles up a little bit. Once that back foot hit, that's when you want to break those hands, okay? A little bit different movement. There you go.
Good.
Okay.
Good job. Keep your momentum going. Make sure that the momentum keeps going.
Be able to walk to that target.
Again, think athletic. So when they're here, we're not athletic when we have a stiff front knee. All right, we're looking on that front knee. We want that to be athletic, just like I can jump, just like I can throw, rotate any other way. All right, so something easy. So a good cue is hey, be athletic right here. Let's go. Boom, perfect. All right, bad throw, but good athletic. Right? Remember, your head's very important here.
There you go. Good.
Good job.
Perfect shot right there. Okay, and again, with long toss, you extend it out as far as you need them to, okay? I was coaching in a 6U. I would put it at about 70 feet max, okay? But that was after these kids had gotten some time. By the end of the year, they were throwing that distance. Up until then, I got them about 60 feet. When they were that young, of course, 4 and 5, you know, a good rule of thumb is you start them on the foul line when they're doing this, go out to where second base is, okay? And that's a good rule of thumb there. And as they get older, you can start progressing that back there for the long toss.
Yeah, the last thing I would say is make sure age appropriate, like on baseballs. If you got a team that really can't catch in the red ball, all right, use tennis balls to work on catching. Tennis balls are good. All right, you can use baseballs, you can bare hand them, and you can work on just catching it right here, and just work on right hand, left hand, all that kind of stuff, just like you would maybe in a receiver drill in football and stuff like that. The good thing is that these kids, in most day into society is they do not play catch. They don't play. And so therefore we have to force it on them. So us as the volunteer coach, as what we're doing here is that we have to try to strive to see what we are seeing up in high school to try to translate back to you guys. So again, hopefully this throwing program, the Jaeger bands can definitely help periodize your structure your practice. We think that this is what, 10 to 15 minutes, all right? Sometimes you think that might be invaluable, but what we just did right here is a lot of good stuff, all right?
A lot of good stuff, and it goes towards our mastery goals for a lot of the lower levels especially, of just being able to throw and play catch.